Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday drawing session with me, Frank Cho. There's my trusty Pentel mechanical pencil with 0.7 HB lead. And there's my kneaded eraser, which looks like a piece of coal now. And there's my favorite paper to draw on, Strathmore Bristolboard 300 series with vellum surface. I love the vellum surface because it grips the pencil very well. All right, today is an odd drawing. This was kind of not really on a bet, but something that that someone mentioned that I should do. Basically, get out of the whole comic book genre and do something outside of comic book genre, and then we got into a discussion about this strange YouTube animated series called Skibidi Toilet. I guess it's pronounced Skibidi, but it's Skibidi, Skibidi toilet. So essentially, a guy's head in a toilet, and his enemy is a guy with a TV monitor or a CCTV camera for heads and or speakers for head. So it is a very surreal animated show, and it was created by Alexei Gerasimov. I guess if I'm pronouncing that name right. But he's a self-taught Russian animator, essentially a computer animator. And now he's no longer in Russia. I think he is in Georgia. And producing this animated shorts for YouTube. So I decided to just just the just the surrealness and the absurdity of it all. I decided to draw the Skibidi toilet. Basically, a toilet running away from a guy with a TV for a head, and I thought it would be funny if I also added Mario. Because since he's a plumber, I thought that just kind of tied everything together, you know. So, I mean, this is like the craziest thing I've drawn. So there I am drawing the toilet. Basically, yeah, it's just a toilet. I mean, there's nothing special about it. And you can see, you know, everyone knows what a toilet looks like. So and it just, you know, I was able to just kind of like roughly pencil it in without too much thought. There's that kind of the side back end where there's that bent tube, or there's the toilet seat cover. Yeah, just want to make sure that, you know, the toilet seat is roughly the same length as the toilet. And there's that guy's head that's poking out of the toilet. So I just put a rough placement there. You know, it's fascinating thing about drawing stuff like this, drawing non-superhero stuff. It's always the mundane stuff that's really hard to draw, because I'm so used to drawing hyper exaggerated figures, you know, overly muscular men or very, sexy women. But when it comes to just drawing average guy or a woman, it's actually tough because I had to dial down my exaggeration. Yet at the same time, you want the exaggeration to make it look to have more energy in your drawing. So it's a fine line when you're drawing just average people. So basically drawing the guy running. So when you're drawing a guy running, a person running in general, you have to alternate the arms and the legs. So if the leg is the side that the leg is coming forward, the arm on that side should be cocked back, and vice versa. So that's a good rule of thumb. You can't have in this drawing you have the guy's left leg coming forward. So since that left leg is coming forward, you need to draw the left arm cocked back. Now, if that left leg was back is swinging back, then the arm on that side should be swinging forward. So that's just a general rule of thumb. So I'm drawing Mario. And the funny thing about Mario is, as I was, when you draw like a cartoon character, now the cartoon character, animated cartoon character, classically animated character, is essentially you're drawing a kind of a stretchy bubble. And most of it are very similar structure-wise. As I was drawing this, you can see I'm literally drawing like two bubbles stacked on one on top of another for the head, and then the overall torso body. And it actually you're drawing a snowman. So as I was doing that, and then I noticed that the Mario has this big rounded hands. And I could have easily taken that and turned that into Mickey Mouse because they have the very similar proportions. So people ask me, how are you able to transition from drawing realistic to a cartoon figure? It's actually very easy. Once you know the basic anatomy, how the human body moves, you can actually use that information to easily translate it into cartoons because they have very similar articulation points. And the great thing about cartoons is drawing a cartoon character is all about exaggeration. So it's actually a lot easier to draw cartoons. Now, I really learned how to draw like comic character or cartoon characters by looking at Walt Kelly, Pogo. So Walt Kelly Pogo is just a master class in cartooning. I've always thought, and I thought Walt Kelly was one of the best animators in comic history. So I can't say enough good things about Walt Kelly, the creator of Pogo. Now, so since Mario is a plumber and he's chasing Skibidi, who is a guy in a toilet, I thought it'd be funny to have Mario chasing him with a plunger. So just laying this overall was kind of easy. I mean, this was a kind of a no-brainer drawing because I just wanted to draw a guy with a head in the toilet, kind of like jumping away, and behind him is a guy in a suit chasing him, and running next to him is Mario with a plunger. So that's what I had in mind, and and it's actually pretty easy to kind of like put it on paper once you kind of figure out how the figure is gonna fall in composition wise. And it's in a composition wise, it was pretty straightforward. Toilet in the toilet up front, guy in a suit behind him chasing, running, and then beside him is a cartoon character chasing and running after the same toilet. Now I tried watching Skibidi, and I couldn't make heads or tail out of it. It is one of the most strangest thing ever. I it's just bizarre, and I don't really have no don't know why it's so popular because it's like a giant acid trip. So not only you have a bunch of people as a head in the toilet, you have their enemy, which is a electrical appliance on their head. TV, CCTV, camera, speaker, whatever, for head. And then not only that, they have these like titanic, I guess, bosses. So you have like this insane, just giant mechanical spider like thing with a TV head with like missiles coming out, and then you have this mega toilet guy. It's like size of a skyscraper. And so it's it makes absolutely zero sense, and people love it. So once I basically laid everything out, I like to erase everything, not too deeply, but enough to see like a like a very rough outline, a faint outline. And then and then I use the faint outline to go back and redraw it, tighten up the drawing. So it's basically the faint outline becomes like like an underdrawing. I actually enjoy drawing Mario. I was actually surprised how much I enjoy drawing Mario. A lot of people don't know that my first professional job was I wrote and drew Liberty Meadows, which was a newspaper comic strip for 5 years, and I really studied Walt Kelly to when drawing my characters. And once you have that in your system, is everything else becomes very easy. Drawing other animated characters, and drawing Mario, a very animated character. All of that, all of that technique just kind of came flooding back. It's like riding a bike. The thing that I notice about artists is when they're like a hyper realistic artist, they have a hard time drawing cartoon characters, which is basically they're like elongated, flexible bubbles. And I noticed that like great artists, comic book artists, or illustrators who just can't draw a really good cartoon, which I found that fascinating. To me, I mean, it was a very easy jump, realistic to cartoon and back and forth. It's realistic, but I realized that I guess when you draw in a certain style so long, you get locked in that style, and it's hard to break that style mentally. But lucky for me, in the start of my career, I kind of had to force myself to draw realistically and cartoony. There's Mario with the plunger. Yeah, so, there's the plunger. I thought, so, when I did Liberty Meadows, I like to mash up. I used to do a lot of satire and cameo from other cartoonists, other cartoon characters and stuff like, which I got into a lot of trouble for. That's one of the reasons I quit Liberty Meadows was the censorship. I mean, the constant censorship. So after 5 years of constantly getting censored, I just had enough and left. So me mixing characters together, I thought it was just funny because you have Skibidi, the toilet guy, and then Mario with the plunger going after him. I just thought it just made so much more sense, unlike the Skibidi animation. Yeah, so when you're drawing a cartoon, make sure the body is it's like a teardrop shaped, you know. So you have a lot of circle, a lot of circular form, and the body is like a elongated teardrop, kind of like give it that shmoo body from Little Abner. Again, I'm dating myself. You know what's funny is like drawing a guy in a suit is always kind of like is kind of like tricky because I've always drawn nothing but guys and women in very like skin tight outfit, which well, technically they're not really wearing any clothes. It's just kind of a like a form fitting spandex. So the guy who really was absolutely great at drawing suits, people in just regular clothing and suits and stuff like that, was Alex Raymond. Alex Raymond was absolutely fantastic. I look at a lot of his Rip Kirby stuff. Rip Kirby, which was an adventure newspaper comic strip in the 50s. And another guy who's absolutely fantastic that I just like study, just look at it all the time when I have to draw guys in suits is Al Williamson. So Al Williamson's Secret Agent X9 is another comic strip, newspaper comic strip in the 60s and 70s, and Al was just an absolute master. Which is funny because like the Secret Agent X9 was originally created by or started by Alex Raymond. So actually, when you really break it down, there's three highly influential newspaper comic strip artists that influenced basically the most of the comic industry in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. So you have the Hal Foster school. From Hal Foster, you get a lot of guys from, I would say, Frazetta was influenced by Hal Foster to a certain degree. I would say Joe Kubert. No, I guess Joe Kubert is more of a Milton Caniff's school. So you have the three masters, Hal Foster, who did Prince Valiant, and you have Alex Raymond, who did Flash Gordon and Rip Kirby, and you have Milton Caniff, who did Terry and the Pirates. So from those three guys, they influenced the entire couple of generations of comic book artists. So you have Neil Adams, who, if you look at it, is influenced by Stan Drake, who was influenced by Alex Raymond and 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 Wally Wood. So you can actually kind of pinpoint where a lot of the influences came from. So you have Milton Caniff, who was Terry and the Pirates. You see Frank Robbins emulating his style. And then to a certain degree, you see Alex Toth was a big Milton Caniff fan. And you can see it when he does like deep black shadows and stuff like that. Actually, Alex Toth was more of a Noel Sickles acolyte. And Noel Sickles was friends with Milton Caniff, and Milton Caniff worshipped Noel Sickles. And Noel Sickles is one of those like genius artists that doesn't get the respect or the knowledge, because like Noel Sickles also influenced Wally Wood tremendously. So if you look at all the Wally Wood spaceship stuff, where all the spaceship look like a inside of a submarine with all the the braces and the rivets and all that stuff, that all came from Noel Sickles. So there I am drawing the screaming guy in the toilet. So I really didn't know anything about Skibidi until like this past week. I had dinner with Ryan Stegman and Charles So, and we just got on the topic of just bizarre stuff on the internet, and Skibidi was one of the thing. And so Ryan Stegman was trying to explain to me what Skibidi was, and it was tough because it just the whole concept just made absolutely no sense. It's a guy in a toilet, not even just a full guy. It's a guy's head in a toilet, and he's like singing, and this weird TV monitor headed people are like flushing him down the toilet, and the more I watched it, it's just the more bizarre it got. And just baffled. I mean, all of us were baffled why it became viral, and now it has like probably like over billions, like several billions of views, and the and the YouTube site has like, I think like 45 million subscribers or something, like making it one of the most popular YouTube channel. And the whole thing only started like about a year and a half ago, like in 2023. So it's actually funny. It's like you never know if something's gonna hit. You never really know. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle phenomena. They, Peter Lard and Kevin Eastman, they just did it as a kind of a spoof, a homage of Frank Miller's Daredevil comic book, and they decided to just turn it into this a goofy and violent comic book, and it took off. It became more popular than Daredevil, the source of the inspiration and all that. And so it's wild. You have no idea when things gonna hit. I mean, it's so popular that I think I read somewhere that Michael Bay, I think, has optioned it, and they're gonna try to turn it into a movie or a TV series, which is just hilarious, So it's Michael Bay, so it's gonna just start things gonna explode. So you can have a lot of exploding toilets, which to me is just funny because I think he came a little too late, because Taco Bell has it covered. Every Taco Bell you go, there's gonna be like an exploded toilet. So I think Michael Bay is a little too late on that. But I'm actually kind of curious to see what he's going to do with it. I mean, he did a fantastic job with the Transformer. You know, I thought eventually all the sequels got kind of like really weird, and I don't know why he allowed what's his name, the actor, screaming all of his lines. Like everyone in that movie, in the Transformer movies, it just screams their dialogue. You know, even the great Stanley Tucci, you know, was this cartoon character screaming out dialogues. But I'm actually kind of curious to see what Michael Bay will do with it, because it is a one giant acid trip. So I originally was gonna have this guy hold a gun, but I thought a knife would be more visually more funny. You're trying to kill a guy in a toilet with a knife, you know. Yeah, it just makes absolutely no sense. I think one of the reasons why this became such a huge phenomenon is there is hardly any dialogue, so there is no language barrier. So it's more like a silent film. So everything is, the story is conveyed by images, and you know, so it crosses over, so you won't have the language barrier. And I think that's one of the reasons why this thing became so popular, because essentially there's no gatekeeper. You know, it's just the guy decided to draw this weird thing and put it out there, and people don't have to like understand or, you know the language to figure out what's going on. That being said, I have no idea what's going on, but it's weird. It's weird. I mean, I should do like a how to draw clothing, because I know a lot of people, have a tough time drawing clothing. How the fabric wrinkles, pulls and pushes and pull. Again, is that's very basic geometry. Yeah, I don't know what the guy in the toilet's name is. I think he's just called Skibidi Toilet. And I looked up what the skibidi means. I think it means kind of like absurd, goofy, fun. And just I'm reinforcing the tie. And the screen, yeah, and that, on the screen, some of the screen had this weird smiley face on it, in this sea of static. What's funny is that they used this tube TV instead of the flat screen TV, which kind of makes it a little bit more the absurdity of it all. So there it is. Skibidi. Enjoy.